Hi, in this video we're finally able to set up a new Android project for our Google Map application. The first video in this series demonstrated installing the Google Play Services SDK that we will import and use in our project. The second video in the series demonstrated how to get a Google Maps Android API key for version 2. Then you will need this for the manifest file. So before you try to create an Android map application, you must complete these first two steps. Otherwise, nothing will work. In addition, you should be aware that Google Play Services is not supported on the Android emulator. Now I have opened the setup information here for Google Play Services, and you'll see here a note that they provide that it's not supported on the Android emulator, and since our maps will require Google Play Services, we're not going to be able to test it on an emulator. So you must have an actual Android phone or tablet. So now that we have the Google Maps Android API key and installed the Google Play Services, we're ready to develop our application. So I have Eclipse open and I have the Google Play Services library imported in. So next I'm going to create a new Android project, and I'm just going to call it Google Maps. And I'm going to leave the minimum SDK as 8 and the target as 17. So I'm going to click Next, and I'm going to keep the default settings in here for each of these and finish. Okay, now on my activity and my layout, I'm just going to delete the Hello World text that starts out here. Now we need to create a reference from our project to the library, to our Google Play Services library. On my project, I'm going to right-click and choose Properties. And then from here, at the bottom of the Properties window, I can see that I can add a library. So I'm going to click Add, and my Google Play Services library is an option here. So I'll click OK, and then I'm going to click OK to add the library. Now, in order to have our library work with operating systems before API 11, we need to import the support library. So since my project is going back as far as API 8, I want to be able to do this so that it will work on earlier versions. So again, I'm going to right-click over my project name and go to Android Tools and Add Support Library. Okay, and then we're going to select the library, accept, and then install. So now if we look in the Package Explorer, we can see a folder here for Android dependencies, and we can see that we have the Google Play Services library jar, the Google Play Services jar, and the Android support version 4. So let me collapse this back up. And so now we're ready to move on to set up our Android manifest file. So I'm going to open up my manifest file. We have a number of permissions to set in here. So I'm just going to paste some in. Now in here you're going to need to replace your application package with your actual package application name. So I'm just going to copy and paste this in the places where I need to replace that. Right, and our permissions that we have for permission internet, it's used by the API to download map tiles from the Google Maps servers. We have write external storage allows the API to cache map tile data to the external storage area. So it'll be faster for it to update. The Read G services allows the API to access Google's web-based services and access course location and access find location. The course location allows the API to use Wi-Fi or mobile cell data, or both, to determine your device's location. And then we have find location allows the API to use global positioning system to determine the device's location. So the finer the location, the more battery power will be used. Next, our application will be using the OpenGL, so we need to include that. So I'm going to put that in here after the uses SDK. And finally, right before the closing application, we need to include our information for our Google API key. After we went through all that work to get our key, right, we include that in here. So you're going to replace your Google API key with the key that you generated. And next, we open up our main activity XML file, and we're going to set up the code for that. So I'm just going to go into the XML and wipe out what's here and replace it with a fragment. Google Maps version 2 uses map fragments. So I'm going to save that and save my manifest file. And when I come back here, let's see. We need to do a little bit more updating for this, so we'll come back to that. So let's go into the source file and open up the main activity Java file and set this up. Now we need to add support for fragment activity. So under the imports, I'm going to add in support for version 4 fragment activity. And our main activity is going to extend fragment activity. So when I save that, it starts to clean up some of the errors that we have appearing here. Now sometimes what will work to clean this up is by going to Project and Clean. So I'm going to try that. Tell it to clean everything. Okay, and that took care of my errors. Okay, now I think I'm ready to test this, so I'm going to run this. Now remember, it won't work on an emulator, so we have to choose an actual connected device. So I have a phone connected, and I may be able to grab some screenshots for you from my device through the DDMS. So I'm going to go there and select my phone over here, and I'll do a screen capture so that you can see this is what's currently on my screen. So now if I update and drag around and zoom in a bit and I refresh it, you'll see that it gets a picture of my updated screen. So we are able to load maps onto an actual device now. So I'm going to go back out of here. So we were able to finally put everything together, from setting up the Google Play services and getting our API key, combining them into an application that lets us display a map to the screen.